All right, welcome back to the NFL offseason. Today we're talking about my top 10, preliminary top 10 wide receiver ranking for the NFL draft. I just did my top 10 quarterbacks, well, top 7. Just so you know, I've only watched 3 games from each of these players. Some of them 2, but I did watch a couple all 22s on some of them, and these are my quick comparisons and my draft grades right before the combine. It'll change, but I don't think it's gonna change that much. Some of them will probably rise based on their testing. But anyways, today I have 11. My honorable mention, Tez Walker, who I initially had at number 7, but he struggled a lot at the Senior Bowl, and it showed some glaring weakness, especially his hand. Although he showed great speed, good, route running in terms of getting open. But man, no matter how open you get, you can't be dropping passes. This was his chance because he missed half the season due to NCAA messing with his eligibility. I could still see him improving his stock, especially if he runs in the low 4.4s. Right now I have him as a late 2nd, early 3rd, but before the Senior Bowl he was a late 1st, early 2nd, and my number 7 ranked receiver. My current comp for him is Terry McLaurin. Similar like play style, although McLaurin's smaller, it's a little faster. They got that, acrobatic ability. Although Tess didn't show that at the Senior Bowl, but that's my number 11. So let's move on to my top 10. My number 10 is late breakout Xavier Legette. Man, this dude came out of nowhere. Like for the first 3-4 years, he was just a spot receiver, mainly like the best returner on the team. And all of a sudden in his last year, him and Spencer Rattler just developed this chemistry, and he dominated. I don't know if his stats is here, but it's not. But anyways, he didn't really improve his stock at the Senior Bowl. If anything, it hurt him a little bit because he is not 6'3". He actually measured at 6'1", so that will hurt him a little bit. Initially had an early 2nd grade, but now it's like a mid 2nd, late 2nd with his testing and his performance. He got hurt at the Senior Bowl, but he didn't help himself, but he didn't hurt himself either. So the only thing that was a negative, I guess, was his testing. And this is gonna be a weird comp. It's gonna be Rashid Shaheed based on the return abilities. And Shaheed, although was mostly a returner his rookie year, he did improve as a receiver, and that's basically what I'm basing on right now with Xavier Legette. That could change. He could I see a little bit of shades of like Sammy Watkins, I guess, in Xavier Legette's game, but that's too high of a praise. So right now we have Rashid Shaheed. And let's move on to my number 9. It's Ladd McConkey. So he's been rising in a lot of people's draft board because he had a pretty good practice. I don't know if he did. I don't remember if he played at the Senior Bowl, but his first 2 practice he was uncoverable, and then he plateaued in like the last 2. But he's expected to run in like the low 4.4s, allegedly. Like I could see some of it in his game, but man, they don't use him enough on the outside for me to like determine that, until he runs at the combine. But my early comp is Jarvis Landry. Although Landry's probably slower, but he was a perfect slot receiver that could make, cuts easily. And that's what I projected McConkey to do early in his career. He's just that slot receiver that could get open, that could make people miss. He can play on the outside, but the thing is, like, I don't know. They didn't use him enough. Although, you know, Lad is much faster. Like, this is like the shades when I first saw him, like, oh, that reminds me of Jarvis Landry. But once I watch a couple more of his, you know, films, I'll probably change. My comment will probably change. But right now, I have him compared to Landry, and I also have him graded as a mid-second. So he was a late second before the Senior Bowl, but with, you know, he actually helped himself with his, you know, pretty good practice performance. But let's move on to my number 8. It's gonna be Keon Coleman. So everybody is bagging on him because he's a contested catcher, blah blah blah. I mean, he got size to be an elite contested catcher. I've seen a couple of Florida State games, and definitely he stood out. But when you look at like the statistics, the data, it doesn't look good. But if you just watch him live, you're like, man, this guy is gonna be a good NFL player. And right now I have him as an early second because he's under 20. He's shown flashes. He got great size, and we'll see how he does at the combine. Maybe he's not 6'4". Maybe he runs faster than 3.9. That could catapult him into the late first. But my current he reminds me of right now is Devontae Parker. Oh crap. Devontae Parker from the Dolphins. Well, I guess he's now with the Patriots. But yeah, Devontae Parker from Louisville. I think that's where he went to high school with Teddy Bridgewater. Just make spectacular catches after catches, and that's what I saw in his game. Although I think he might run faster than Devontae, because Devontae ran a 4.45. I expect like a low 4.4s. Maybe he won't be 6'4". It's gonna be 6'3", similar to Devontae's size here. But Devontae had much better production in college. That's why he went pretty early in the first. And I have Keon as a late, I mean early second at the moment. But the combine testing is gonna change a lot. It's gonna move up into the late first or so. But let's move on for my number 7th receiver from Texas, Xavier Worthy. So I had this was a tough decision between Worthy and Keon Coleman. I flip-flop a couple times, but man, like speed, you can't teach speed. And Xavier's also more productive in college, and he's also fairly young. And a lot of NFL teams gonna prioritize speed, at least where he's gonna be taken, like late first. It's gonna be where, you know, Buffalo, the champions, Kansas City Chiefs, are gonna be picking or being mock wide receiver. That's where I see him. That his ceiling. Right now I have him as a late first, early second. And my current comp is DJ Chark. Although it was Chark and Hollywood Brown, I went with Chark. Except, am I mixing this up? I think this is Hollywood Brown actually. The next receiver I have comp is DJ Chark. Marquise Hollywood Brown. I think he's also 5'11" or 6 foot. Very light, just a speed demon. And like suspect hands at times. Man, Hollywood with Lamar, dude, was amazing. And then has those concentration drops, and it's just like, man, if this dude can just learn to catch, because he gets open a lot because his speed. But man, That's essentially what I saw when I was watching Xavier Worthy. I mean, Hollywood was got that extra gear and like twitchiness that Xavier doesn't have in the 2-3 games that I watch. I watch a lot of Texas game because I was scouting what's his name, Quinn Ewers, for my Devy League. But anyways, Xavier Worthy, late first, early second, number 7th, and number 6 is Troy Franklin, who I have comped as DJ Chark. I think DJ Chark, yeah. Chark. Anyways, Troy Franklin, very light, but man, he and Bo Nix had some chemistry. I think that's where I struggled. I had Hollywood also. He was hard to, because he's so light and he's so like skinny, and it was hard to find a comp because Chark is also very skinny, especially when he came into the league. Because I'm a Jaguars fan, I saw a lot of Chark, and it looks like Franklin has more of a route tree than Chark did when he came into the league. And right now Chark's just like a deep threat. Very unfortunate. His injury derailed him. He got that great sophomore season, and then he got hurt and everything just went to hell. But anyways, Troy Franklin, number 6. My NFL comp is DJ Chark. And now let's move on to number 5. Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. This one kind of like reminded me of Chark too, because of the size and the speed. But when I was watching it, I got this Christian Watson inkling that like, all right, Christian Watson got that elite speed. Although Chark also did have elite speed, but Brian Thomas being 6'5", I just had to find a better comp, and Christian Watson was that guy. Although Christian Watson have not way worse, but like a little bit worse hands than Brian Thomas, but man, they're elite at separating. Hopefully he doesn't follow the Christian Watson route and be injury prone. I mean, he hasn't showed that in college, so hopefully it stays that way. We'll move along here. Number 4. One of my favorite wide receivers in this draft, Adonai Mitchell. He's just so smooth. And he reminds me of Calvin Ridley, and like CeeDee Lamb and how they run routes. It's just smooth, man. It just like, I know everybody likes Rome. I wouldn't be surprised like after testing and like everything happens that he overtakes Rome. He's my favorite prospect outside of, Neighbors and Marvin Harrison. He's just a perfect wide receiver, size and route running. Although he wasn't productive in college, that's one of the knocks that I had. Anyways, he reminds me of Ridley right now, but he can reach that CeeDee Lamb ceiling. Let's see, I think CeeDee is like 6'3". So size wise, he's more CeeDee Lamb than Calvin Ridley, but as a like just, it's like magic or like a symphony when he runs routes. Anyways, enough of my crush on Adonai Mitchell. Let's move on to my number 3, which is Rome Odunze. Man, this dude just popped off. Like, I remember scouting him last year because everybody expected him to enter the draft, but for some reason he stayed, which was a great decision. Everybody was questioning it, But man, it worked out because he had an amazing season. Had 13 touchdowns, 1,500 yards, 87 catches, and had pretty good, like in that championship game, he had, man, if Penix was able to get to him, he's gonna have much bigger championship game. But anyways, my current comp right now is Chris Godwin. Although I think Rome is a much better outside receiver than Godwin, but that change of direction reminds me of Chris Godwin. I mean, Chris Godwin is fast also, but I'm talking about Chris Godwin before his ACL, because he was in his way to being like a top 12 wide receiver in the league, and then he tore his ACL, and then he came back, he got hurt again, and it was unfortunate. But anyways, Chris Godwin. And finally, my number 2, essentially like 90% of people number 2, Malik Nabers. If you thought Rome had a great season, Malik Nabers had an even better season. I mean, barely based on stats, but if you actually watch the game, this dude was unstoppable. And it was hard to find a comp. I was like, Waddle, got that juice that Waddle have. But I also saw some Brandon Ayuk in his route running. So right now I have Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Waddle comp. Expect him to go in the late, like top, what do I have here? Top 10. He's a top 10 receiver. I have Rome as a top 15 receiver, and then Adonai Mitchell, top 25 receiver. That's what I have right now. And finally, my number 1, and 99.9 people's number 1 is Marvin Harrison Jr. It was difficult to find a comp. There's a lot of elite players that's come and go, and it's just, when I ever watch him, he's like a less explosive AJ Green, less athletic AJ Green. I'm not saying he's not athletic, it's just AJ Green was a monster. And Marvin Harrison is just like a tick below that. He doesn't have that, tackle breaking ability that AJ Green has. Although AJ Green wasn't like super elite in that, but that is the difference between AJ Green and Marvin Harrison. Although Harrison is a better route runner than AJ Green. So I struggled between AJ Green and similar size. So I struggled between AJ Green and Larry Fitzgerald. So right now I have like Larry Fitzgerald and AJ Green had a baby. It's Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison's definitely a little faster than Larry Fitzgerald, but that's it for my top 10 receiver. Marvin Harrison is a top 3 prospect, but we'll see if he's, I think his ceiling is 103 with New England, and his floor is like 105 with the Chargers. So alright, Fitzgerald's similar size. I think Marvin Harrison is gonna run in the high 4.4s. But anyways, my top 10 receivers. My next video, I'll probably go on my top 10 running back / tight ends, because there's not a lot of tight end prospects that's fantasy relevant, and the running back class is just so mid that I'm gonna combine both of them. But anyways, see you on the next one. Peace.